This ice cream was absolutely perfect yesterday. Silky, creamy, scooped like a dream. Today, it's as hard as a rock. If you made homemade ice cream before, you might know what I'm talking about. And if you're like me, you probably blamed the recipe. Maybe the ratio was off, maybe you overturned it, maybe you just needed to let it sit out a little longer. But here's what took me years to figure out. The recipe isn't the problem, the ingredients are. Not because you used the wrong ones, but because nobody may have told you what each one is actually doing inside your ice cream and how they work against each other when they're out of balance. Today I'm going to change that. I'm going to walk you through the 4 ingredients that have the biggest impact on whether your homemade ice cream stays soft and creamy or turns into a frozen brick. And by the end of this video, you might look at every ice cream recipe just a little differently. And stick around because the 3rd ingredient on this list is one most home ice cream makers have never thought to use, or if you have, you probably weren't told what it actually does. Once you see it in action, you're going to want it in your ice cream from now on. Here's the mental model that changed everything for me, because what started off as an occasional treat turned into a mission on how to make creamy, scoopable ice cream. Inside your ice cream, every single ingredient is either fighting the freezer or helping it. Water wants to freeze. It will always try to freeze. Your job and your ingredients' job is to slow that down enough that the texture stays somewhere between creamy and solid. That's it. That's the whole game. If you think about it, it's what commercial ice cream makers do. They're solving for distribution and shelf life. That's why they can have anywhere between 10 or 20 ingredients. Once I understood this, I stopped asking what's the best recipe and started asking what is each ingredient doing. Those are very different questions and they lead to very different results. In the beginning of my ice cream making adventure, I made great tasting ice cream, but they never stayed soft once they were frozen. So let's start with the one that changed my ice cream the most. Many people think sweetener is there to make the ice cream taste sweet. And yes, it does that, obviously. But that is genuinely the least interesting thing sugar does in ice cream. What sugar is really doing is lowering the freezing point of your mixture. It's interfering with the water so that not all of it freezes solid at your freezer's temperature. That's what gives ice cream its soft, scoopable texture. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A number of years ago, I was pre-diabetic. And I did turn my health around. So reducing added sugar became a real priority for me. Not really a preference, but a necessity. But I still wanted to enjoy food that felt indulgent, and I wasn't willing to give that up. That's when I started experimenting with alternative sugars. First, it was erythritol, a sugar alcohol. It worked as a reasonable sweetener, but it did nothing for the texture. It also has the potential for intestinal discomfort for some people, like my husband, so we stopped using it. Then I discovered allulose. I wasn't trying to make diet ice cream, but ice cream that we can enjoy without the sugar crash. And something unexpected happened with allulose. The texture was better. It stayed softer in the freezer for many days, and it scooped more easily too. The mouthfeel was closer to what I remembered and expected from store-bought and ice cream shops. Once I understood why, it made complete sense. Allulose lowers the freezing point even more effectively than regular sugar does. So more of your mixture stays in that soft, semi-frozen state instead of turning fully solid. But, and this is important, more is not better. And I tested this. At more than a cup per quart, the ice cream was too soft, barely held its shape, and it melted differently. These days, I use about half a cup for most of my recipes, and this is where balance is for my freezer, my mix, and for our preference. Your number might be slightly different, but now you know what to adjust and why. In a minute, you'll hear why fat has a hard ceiling, a point where more cream stops helping and starts working against you. Fat, mostly from heavy cream, is doing 2 things in your ice cream. First, it creates richness and that coating mouthfeel that we associate with real ice cream. Second, and more importantly, for texture, fat physically interrupts ice crystal formation. When fat is present, large ice crystals have a harder time growing and connecting. That means finer texture and a less icy result. This is why Philadelphia-style ice cream, which is the style of ice cream that I make, which simply means that I don't use eggs or a custard, It can still have that great texture when the ratios are right. The fat is doing a lot of heavy lifting, but fat has a limit. You can't just keep adding cream to solve texture problems without eventually making something that tastes more like frozen butter than ice cream. And I've actually churned a fat-heavy batch way too long, and it literally turned into frozen chocolate butter, which is where the next ingredient comes in. This one surprises people every time. Non-fat milk powder sounds like a diet ingredient, something you'd use when you're trying to cut calories. That is not why I use it. I use non-fat milk powder because it adds milk solids, specifically proteins and lactose, without adding any additional water to my base. Think about what regular milk is. It's mostly water with some fat and some milk solids dissolved in it. Non-fat milk powder is just the solids. The water has already been removed. So when I add a few tablespoons to the batch, I'm increasing the body of the structure of the ice cream, helping it hold together without diluting the base with more liquid that will eventually want to freeze. I specifically use non-fat, not whole milk powder, and that's because my recipes already have plenty of fat from the cream and the half and half. What I'm often short on is solids. So non-fat milk powder gives me exactly what I need and nothing I don't. It's inexpensive, it keeps forever, and it's one of those ingredients where once you start using it, you wonder how you ever made ice cream without it. Coming up is an ingredient I keep in my liquor cabinet, not my pantry. Just 1 tablespoon does something to your ice cream's texture that has nothing to do with flavor, and it could be the most surprising thing in this whole video. So the 4th ingredient is actually more of a category. This is what I call my texture enhancers. Because once you understand the game, which is to fight the freezer by keeping the water from going fully solid, you start noticing that some very unexpected things work on the same principle. Vodka. Just a tablespoon of vodka in a quart of ice cream lowers the freezing point without adding any detectable flavor. It's not a gimmick. It's the same science we've been talking about this whole video. I use it in most of my flavors, especially in the fruit-heavy recipes where I've already added a lot of water through the fruit itself, and I need just a little extra help keeping things scoopable. And sometimes it's an intentional flavoring agent to elevate a flavor, like in a bourbon vanilla or perhaps a cold brew coffee. The next option is xanthan gum. Tiny amounts here. We're talking like 1/8 of a teaspoon to help bind water and give ice cream a slightly more elastic, stretchy texture. I use this very sparingly and only in specific situations, and it's usually recipes that have an additional fruit ribbon mix in. A little goes a long way, and too much can make your ice cream a little gummy in a way that's immediately noticeable. Cream cheese and mascarpone. These add fat and protein, and they also contribute to a denser, creamier texture. It's really a great option. Cream cheese in particular has become one of my favorite go-to ingredients, especially when I want like a New York cheesecake vibe or when a recipe needs just a little more body without additional liquid. None of these are magic ingredients. They are simply tools. The goal is never to use all of them at once. The goal is to diagnose what your specific recipe needs and reach for the right one. So when I'm developing a new recipe now, here's how I think about it. I start with the base: cream, sweetener, and milk powder. That's my foundation. Then I think about what I'm adding to it. Is it something that brings in more liquid? Fruit almost always does. Fresh peaches, strawberries, mango, blueberries, they all add a lot of water. That means I might need a little extra help from milk powder, or I might use a tiny bit of xanthan gum. Is it a mix-in that doesn't affect liquid content much? Chocolate chips, nuts, those mostly just affect texture, not freeze point. Is it a flavoring that changes the whole profile? For example, cream cheese changes everything: fat, tang, and body, and I account for that. Every recipe is a balance, and once you can see the balance, you can start adjusting it. The question I used to ask when I started experimenting was, what's the secret ingredient that fixes everything? The answer, which took a lot of batches that turned out okay but not great, is that there isn't one. What there is balance and understanding how these ingredients all work together. And once you know that your sweetener is fighting the freezer, your fat is interrupting ice crystals, your milk powder is adding structure without adding water, and your texture enhancers are precision tools for specific problems, homemade ice cream stops being a mystery and it becomes something you can actually control. And that honestly is so much more fun and satisfying than finding a magic fix, because then you can create a great batch of ice cream pretty much anytime you want. If you want to see how this plays out in a real recipe, check out this video making an easy chocolate ice cream in under 30 minutes. We also have lots of flavors from basic bases to gourmet flavors on the channel. And if you're curious about how allulose and other sweeteners perform in ice cream, I created a downloadable guide that you can grab using the QR code on the screen. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.